What's good, good people? Soul Brother number one coming back at you from the top of the chocolate Milky Way, here to reclaim the pyramids. And today we're going to talk about classic duos. Now, throughout pop culture history and everything like that, you had your classic duos. You had Batman and Robin. You had Starsky and Hutch. That's for the old school people. And you had Hall and Oates, just to name a few. Now these duos, became part of pop culture, where you wouldn't say one name without saying the other. And this afternoon, I'm going to be reviewing another duo that I believe holds just as much significance in pop culture as a duo as those other duos that I named, in my opinion at least. And as you can already see by the setup, you ain't had to guess who they were. It's Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Can't say one name without saying the other. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow's relationship began, well, I guess where we first, got a glimpse of it is in the now classic G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue number 26, The Silent Interlude, where that comic was significant for it not having any dialogue in it. And what it was a rescue mission. Snake Eyes was going to Cobra Castle to rescue Scarlet, who had been captured. And at the end of that issue, as they were escaping, you see where Snake Eyes' piece of his uniform that's covering his forearm came off, and you saw part of a tattoo. And in the next panel, part of Storm Shadow's forearm wrapping came off, and you saw the same tattoo. And it left us readers with wait a minute, why they got the same tattoo? What's going on here? So that was issue 21. And we didn't have to wait long, because 5 issues later, in G.I. Joe Real American Hero number 26, that was the first issue of the origin of Snake Eyes. It went through 26 and 27. The issue was it was narrated by, I believe, Stalker, who Hawk had some narration in it, and I believe Scarlet had some too. And it went through the origin of Snake Eyes, and within that origin, you also got the connection between him and Storm Shadow. Not gonna go into it now because that's kind of lengthy, and if you're looking at this, you pretty much already know it. But that is where we found out the connection between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Masterfully crafted, I might add, by Larry Hama. I believe that was Larry Hama who wrote that. And ever since then, it became a classic duo, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Now, in the cartoon series, it wasn't that way because, for one, and Snake Eyes can't talk, and there's only so much you can do for that type of cartoon. So in the cartoon, the Sunbow, they made Storm Shadow's primary adversary be Spirit. But yeah, it is what it is. But everybody knows it's Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. But so now we're going to be reviewing, taking a look at Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, the classified versions. First, we're going to do Snake Eyes. This is number 2 in the classified line, and Storm Shadow was 35. Now this Snake Eyes here, by the way, was my first classified figure. Got me down I was getting action figures before that, but this Snake Eyes got me back into collecting heavy. Now this Snake Eyes, as you can see, it's meant to kind of mimic or resemble the version 2 Snake Eyes. What some people call the Ninja Snake Eyes. And here you see a picture of the version 2 and how much that pretty much resembles. Yeah, I can see where they were going. Yeah, he came with this sword, kind of warped here. But Snake Eyes came with this sword. He came with this Nerf firearm that got replaced. I gave him a Valaverse weapon. This is the weapon I gave him. He also came with a knife, serrated edge, just molded black plastic. And he came with a Nerf sidearm. We're going to get rid of that too and give him a proper sidearm. And it also came with a suppressor. But like I say, we're going to get rid of those because those Nerf weapons just look bad. Which is why I replaced them in the first place. As far as articulation goes, if you get classified figures, you know what you're pretty much getting. And this was early on in the line. Like I said, this was number 2. You get 360 on the head. He can look up. And he can look down. Arms get the T-pose. You get the 360. The bicep swivel. The double jointed, and these elbows are pinned. Because back then, hadn't advanced to that pinless technology, but you got the double jointed pinned elbows, like I say, but doesn't too much bother me. 360 rotation at that wrist, and this wrist is on a that looks like a up and down hinge, like them trigger hand hinges. He has the ab crunch, allows him to bend forward that much, bend back way back, but that's with the articulation at the waist as well. Snake Eyes can get the Van Damme, being a ninja, which he should be able to do. You got the thigh rotation. The double jointed pinned knees. You have a boot swivel that's cut at the mid thigh. Ankle pivot. And ankle rocker. Snake Eyes also came with a backpack, but I don't know where mine is right now. I was looking for it. I couldn't find it. So now, you know what I'll be doing for the rest of the evening, because I don't know if that's OCD or what, but when I start looking for something, I can't find it. Now I got to look harder because I want to find it. I want to know where it's at. But he came with a backpack, and that backpack had a place where you could, I believe this sword came with a sheath, and you could slide this sword into the sheath. And Snake Eyes, if you look real closely right here, he has the Arashikage symbol right there. And on his belt. Just notice that. Right here on the belt. But yeah, like I say, this was my first classified figure. And got me down the rabbit hole of into collecting heavy like I was. Because I was real big into G.I. Joe when the Real American Hero came out. I was into G.I. Joe before that. I'm old school. I was 12-inch G.I. Joe back in the early to mid 70s. But yeah, that's and one example of how it got me back into it, I was online searching for better weapons for my classified figures, and that's how I came across Valaverse. Searching for weapons for G.I. Joe, searching for better weapons, and it just spiraled from there. Now we're going to take a look at Tomi Arashikage, Storm Shadow. And according to the Google and the wiki, I believe that is a real Japanese word. Arashi meaning storm, Kage meaning shadow. That's what it says on it. Now, that doesn't necessarily make it true because, you know, you can put anything on the internet. But found that kind of quite interesting. And this Storm Shadow, this is like the, as far as classified goes, I want to say this may be the third one. I know it wasn't the first one because the first one had that Arctic get up. And I wasn't digging that. I was waiting on the one to mimic version 1 of the Real American Hero 3 3/4 line Storm Shadow. They did come out with a retro card, which was basically this figure with just a few aesthetic changes. Like on the retro card, the gloves, they didn't have gloves on the hand, and a few other minor details. It wasn't nothing. If you had this one, you didn't need to get the retro card unless you just wanted the retro card, in my opinion. But Tommy comes with 2 swords. Get him out of his hand. And you see the handle. They has some type of is that a dragon design on there? Snake, actually. Yeah, it's a snake. Maybe you can see that. And this sword is the exact same. It's just a little bit shorter. His backpack. Well, it's not a backpack, but he has his quiver with sheaths for the sword on the back, where you can store them just like so. Oh, wait a minute. I think I put the wrong one in. Yeah, this is the short one. And this is the long one. Go in like that. Has the Arashikage symbol on the back. It did come with 1 free arrow, but I don't know what that is either. Nice detail on there too. And he also came with a hood. That's still in the package though. You see the hood right here, where you can put that over. I got this part where this part over his neck is mimicking where if you were to have the hood pulled down. But not going to go over this articulation for Storm Shadow because it's basically the same as Snake Eyes. What I didn't do on Snake Eyes, and I'm not sure if he had it, is he does have a butterfly joint in the shoulders. It allows it to go back about that far. Now, like you say, can he cross? Yeah. Butterfly joint allows his hands to cross his chest about that much. Got that Cobra insignia on there because at this time, Tommy was working for Cobra. He had infiltrated them, if you read the story, to find out who killed the Soft Master, his uncle. This part is free with that black sash around it. But as you can see here, this is a version 2 of the Real American Hero 3 3/4 Storm Shadow, and you can see what they were going for. I think Classified has about 1, 2, 3 versions of Storm Shadow. This is the only one I'm interested in. Only one I care about. This is the one I got. And also, you know, you couldn't have a Storm Shadow figure without the bow, because as quoted in the issue, They said when they were training, Snake Eyes started to surpass them in everything except the bow. And it quoted in that saying, but with the bow, he was still master. I don't like the fact that it's a pulley compound bow, but we got one. We got a bow and arrow. Red paint apps on it. But I felt it's on my mind to give you that review and talk about this duo going, in my opinion, right up there in the pop culture lexicon with those famous duos I mentioned before, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Can't separate them. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. You know, what else? Bert and Ernie. You know, classic duos. They go together just like that. But that concludes my review, if you want to call it, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Remember, keep a glide in your stride, a dip in your hip, and we can all wait on the mothership. Y'all be easy.